don't have any apologies. So I don't know if from the members, if there's any apology. The only apology is for Member Heron, indicated that he will be joining us a little bit later, 10 o'clock. So before we start, my name is Matlodi Maseko, and I'm the Standing Committee Chair, and I'm going to allow the members to introduce themselves. And after, hand over to the HOD to introduce their guests, introduce the officials that will be joining us. I don't know if Minister Tecu Simas is with us today. HOD, is Minister here with us?
Yes, Member Maseko.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I will, after we'll allow Minister, before we start with the agenda, to address us if there's anything that you will want to address with us. I've got Minister Simas, I've got Ms. Vin Jallo from the head of ministry, and M. Martin, the media liaison officer. That is from the ministry that confirmed that they will be joining us. Members, let me hand over to you to introduce yourself before I hand over to the department.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everybody on the platform. My name is Derek American. I'm a member of the committee.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues and officials. Andrikus van der Westhuizen, member of the committee.
Thank you very much. Minister, if you can introduce yourself so that our guests, they know who's the Minister of Human Settlements if they didn't know, and then from there it will be the HOD.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Member Maseko, members of the Standing Committee. My name is Tecu Simas. I'm the Western Cape Provincial Minister of Human Settlements. Thank you. And over to my HOD to introduce herself and the rest of the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Over to you, Ms. Sampson.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairperson, members and guests. I'm Jackie Sampson. I'm head of the Department of Western Cape Human Settlements. With me here is my Chief Director for Implementation, Ms. Pila Maisela, excuse me, who will also do the presentation on our behalf. I have Ms. Kamala August, the Chief Director for Planning, Mr. Benjamin Kosi, who is the Director for Support, and his officials, Shanaz Adams, and then I have the Director for Communication and Stakeholder Relations, Mr. Nathan Adrihanse. Those are the officials from our department. Ms. Maisela will do the presentation, and we will assist if there are any responses required from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I am now just going to hand over to the minister if there's something that he wants to address to us. Sorry, before that, we do have the Tecu development that has joined us. If maybe they can introduce themselves, and the MS3 property and investment that is going to present also. Let's start with the Tecu development. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here in this meeting with you. Thank you, guys. My name is Tandi Kupe, and with me I have my two colleagues.
Good morning, everybody. Very honored to be here. My name is Melt Gardner, Managing Director of Tecu Development.
Good morning, Minister, Chairperson of the Standing Committee, honorable members and the officials of the department. Thank you to be here, to be invited into this meeting. My name is Vuyiswan Zakana, founder and the director of MS3 Properties and Investment. Most importantly, a contractor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, May. I'm going to hand over to MS3 Property Investment.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Just to give a background about MS3 Property and Investment, it is a Black woman emerging contractor with almost 10 years experience in the construction management, in general building maintenance, and involved in subcontracting of housing and development.
Okay, thank you very much. I thought that I didn't hear you when you were talking that it's one and the same person for MS3 property. So we wanted to attach the name to the face, and then we'll have a conversation after when you get a chance. So my apologies. Thank you very much. Minister, I'm handing over to you.
Okay. Now, Chair, I'll be very brief because I'm aware that my team has prepared a very detailed presentation, which Ms. Maisela is going to present in due course. But I think just to enlighten the standing committee members that for the targets that we've set, or we've set in the APP.
Sorry, just for a second. Members, can we switch off the video so that we get a stable connection? Because immediately if we have more than 2 videos on, then it becomes a problem to some other guests to have a stable connection. Thank you very much, members. Sorry, Minister, over to you again.
No problem, Madam Chair. You're the chair of the meeting. I need to respect that. As I was stating, in our annual performance plan, Madam Chair and standing committee members, there is a target set for women and youth in the construction sector. I know, having served as a member of the standing committee, it's normally one of the sections in the APP which gets the most attention because the targets that were set could not be reached, and it's not for 1 year but for many years for specific reasons. And I do believe in the 19 months that I've now been at the helm of the department, I've also started asking as an executive member, but why can't we reach the targets? I mean, you'll note that we've adjusted the targets to be more realistic and in line with what we've been able to accomplish within a specific financial cycle. But Madam Chair, I think one thing that is amiss is that we need to understand that human settlements is closely in a working relationship with local government, because the one influences the other. If your municipalities, local economic development department or section do not do what they are supposed to do and create the platform or database for women and youth who are interested in the construction field to actually register to be on the database, I mean, there's no way that we can actually then be aware of the real needs in a specific municipality, and there's no way that we can effectively ultimately focus on the specific segments within our broader community. But where we have seen pockets of success, Honourable Chair, we've really seen the youth in the construction sector doing well. We've seen women in the construction sector doing well where they have been given the opportunity. But that is once again because most of these young people and women have real drive, and they have the passion to seek out and actually explore the opportunities within the sector, which is called human settlements, or in the construction sector. So I think we're keeping that in the back of the minds for the members, that when you look at the presentation, always remember that the effectiveness of attaining targets is also reliant also on our partner at local government to do their processes properly and effectively to ensure that they ultimately strive to incorporate these specific segments within their communities on a specific database and keep them up to date with the opportunities as well. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. I am not going to waste any time and hand over to Maisela. You can lead us with your presentation. Yes. And I've seen, since we started, the member Nkondlo has joined us and member Smith have joined us. So welcome, members. Ms. Maisela.
Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members, Minister, colleagues. I'm not sure, Chairperson, if Shamiz is going to fly to the presentation, or should I fly it from my side?
Shamiz, can you assist us with the presentation?
Yes, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. While Shamiz is loading, Member Gardner, we want to attach the face to the name and Member Smith. If you can just introduce yourselves.
Chairperson, Member Smith, alternate member of the committee. Thank you.
We usually attach the face to the name, so if you can just showcase your face to all the delegates here, we'll appreciate that.
Chairperson, did you miss me? I'm here.
Member Gardner? Okay. Shamiz, you can go on with the presentation.
Are members able to view the presentation?
It was there, then you removed it. I don't know what happened.
Okay, let me try again. Okay.
Yeah, it's here now.
Pilar must just indicate when I should change the slide.
Okay. Mepila, over to you.
It's not showing on my side yet, Chairperson. I'm not sure if the members and everybody else can see it.
Shamiz, yeah, members, can you see the presentation? I can see it from my side. I don't know if the other members. Member Andrikas?
Yeah, I can see it, Chair.
Okay.
I see it too.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairperson. I can then proceed. Next slide,
Okay.
Shamiz, please. Now it's gone. Shamiz? Chairperson, Shamiz,
Okay.
I've lost
I
the
can
presentation.
hear you. I don't know what did you do. Shamiz, your presentation is gone again.
Okay.
Maybe I should try and flight it from my side, Chairperson. Maybe that'll be
Please,
easier.
Can you do that, Mepila? I'll appreciate that. Okay,
Can everybody see?
Yeah, we can see it, but it's not on the slide mode. Yeah, it's on the slide mode. You can continue now. Pilar?
Graph. Yes, Chairperson. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
IT challenges this morning. Apologies for that once again, Chairperson. As Minister indicated in his opening remarks, empowerment of women, youth and emerging contractors remain one of our key focus areas within the sector. And to demonstrate this commitment as a department, we've included performance indicators in our APP. And we've set the first indicator talks to designated groups paid to contractors with women representation. For this financial year, this target is set at 10%. The next indicator talks to designated groups paid to contractors with youth representation rather, and this target is set at 4%. And the last one talks to number of young people trained, and the target is set at 150 for this current financial year. My slides are not moving. I'm not sure if they are on your side. Is it moving on your side, Chairperson? Something is not working.
No, it's still the same. Shumis, can you try and see if you can move it? I don't know. Maybe she has the control.
Somebody. Shumis?
Chairperson, Member Smith here. I am unable to see the presentation at all. I don't see anything, Chair. Thank you.
Chairperson, Shumis should then perhaps try and flight that again from her side so that we can just make sure that everybody can see the presentation. Shumis, I'm going to stop sharing. If you can just try sharing from your side.
Okay. And who's the IT that has joined us today? Who's helping with the IT, Shumis?
Tafsir is in the meeting, Chairperson.
Okay,
I think it's just that we've all tried to sort out the presentation. Let me just see again if I can load.
The presentation was here now. Just we're on the right track. I'm sorry, members, is the IT has nothing to do with me.
Is everybody able to view?
We are no, we can see.
I didn't understand that.
Is that on display now?
Yeah, it's on display. Okay, Pilar, is this the second one?
It's not displaying on my side yet.
Okay. Are you a guest or you are part of the meeting? Members, can I request that maybe we break for about 3 minutes so that the IT can get everything, because something is not okay here. So that offline, the IT and the procedural officer, they can communicate to make sure that everything is in order. They can do the recheck of everything. Is it okay with you, members?
Thank you, Chair.
All good, Chair.
Okay. Tafsir, Shumis? You can go on. I think we are okay now.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. You'd think with 6 months into this, we would have nailed it. But be that as it may, it happens. As I was stating previously, we've got these performance indicators as set in our APP. The first one talks to amount paid to contractors with women representation, and that is set at 10%. The second one talks to amount paid to contractors with youth representation, and that is set at 4%. And the last one talks to number of young people trained, and that target is set at 150. Next slide, Shamis. Minister indicated in his opening remarks that over the past years, we have struggled to meet our targets, and it's not because of a lack of trying from our side. So this slide just basically indicates how we fared on these targets in the previous financial year. For the first indicator that talks to number of women contractors with women representation, we only achieved 14% of the 30% that was set, and that represents about 206 million of the grant, which was 2.1 billion for the previous financial year. And in terms of the number of contractors with youth representation, we could only achieve 3% of the 10% target that was set, and that represented 44.9 million of this 22.1 billion that was allocated to us. In the previous meeting, the Standing Committee did advise us to revise our targets downwards, so which is why you see in the opening slide, we have subsequently reduced our targets from 30% and 10% to 10 and 4% respectively, so that we can base it on what was actually delivered. When it comes to the work that we've done on to partner with public and private partners, I also want to qualify this before I continue, that this does not talk to the PPPs as set out in the MFMA and PFMA, but simply it's stated, it's used very loosely, indicating that we have partnered with some public organization as well as some private organization, but not as per the Treasury prescripts, because the PPP as set out in the MFMA and PFMA is a very tedious process, and this is certainly not following the processes set out in those regulations. We have partnered with NHBRC, and the agreement was signed in 2019. And the NHBRC provides accredited training with us, and we appoint the learners and we select them in partnership with the NHBRC, and it's an accredited training that provides for practical and theory. And we use our construction site to provide practical experimental training. In the past, we've also partnered with the construction CETA. I do apologize, there's a typo there. It's construction, it's spelled with a CETA, not S. Previously, CETA provided funding for us to appoint learners under the apprenticeship, but as we all know, CETA was placed under administration, and we have not been able to actually continue with that partnership with them. We are monitoring that space, and as soon as their governance issues have been resolved, we will be engaging with them again to assist us and to partner with us in this regard. We've also held some discussion with the Department of Economic Development and Tourism provincially, who have indicated that they will be looking at setting aside some funding to assist us with the training of small and emerging contractors particularly, and we have not yet finalized that agreement. We're hoping that we'll conclude that towards the last quarter so that we can implement it in the new financial year. The department has got two main training initiatives that we're implementing. The first one is the Youth in Human Settlements program, This program promotes the participation of young people between the ages of 18 and 35. Obviously, we want them to participate in the human settlements, within the human settlements value chain. And the learners it's actually not remuneration, they're paid a stipend based on EPWP rates. And this is for a minimum of a period of 6 months. And this EPWP stipend is set at about 100 Rand per day. The modules that are covered over the 6 months, it starts off with the on-site induction program, which is a 3-week program on site where the youth is exposed to your labor-intensive methods on site, and the stipend is paid on the day that they actually start the induction process on site. So we don't wait for them to actually go to class for them to start getting that EPWP stipend. The second module then is an in-class training, which is facilitated at local TVET colleges, and the duration for that module is 2 months. In instances where we do not have TVET colleges, NHBRC does provide funding to transport the learners and to also pay for accommodation at those TVET colleges. We are in discussion with NHBRC and the TVET colleges to rather transport the facilitators to the small towns and use the community facilities as opposed to transporting all learners. We're hoping that in the new financial year, that is the model that we will follow, because we have experienced some challenges with the transportation of the learners from the various towns to areas where we have TVET colleges. The last module then talks to the actual training, the theoretical aspect of it, which is in class, and it's for a 2 to 3 month period, and the learners are evaluated, and they're given their certificates provided they actually complete the course. Another important program that we're running as a department is the Graduate Intention Program. This program focuses on providing experiential training to your built environment graduate. The challenge with the graduates is that when they look for jobs, they're often asked for experience. And because they don't have this experience, they're not able to actually access these opportunities. So as a department, we then embarked on this program. For this current financial year, we have approval for placement of 36 graduate interns. We have not yet filled up all those spaces. We are working very closely with our HR to make sure that all those placements are done by this financial year. But if they're not, we will certainly just roll that over to the new financial year. And linked to the Graduate Intention Program, we've also introduced the program of candidate registration for the learners that are within the built environment sector. We encourage them to register with their professional bodies, and once they register as candidates, we are then able to offer them a training and experience for an additional period of 3 years. And once they obviously registered with their professional bodies, they would then be in a position to be absorbed if we do have vacancies that talk to those specific disciplines. Next slide, Shamiz. Next slide, Shamiz. In terms of the recruitment and selection process, it is highly dependent on the municipalities, human settlements departments and their LED components. But in cases where the municipalities do not have a reliable database where we can source the learners from, we engage with local organizations to access their database to make sure that we recruit the learners from the local areas and are not limited by the absence of reliable information from those municipalities. And the nominations are made from the specific local areas, and we encourage the municipalities to assist us with that information so that we can source people from the local areas and the local wards, as opposed to getting people from different areas, because we would have to pay for transportation for the learners to those centers, and it would actually reduce the little stipend that they get. So we discourage, there's a noise, Chairperson. I'm not sure who needs to mute, and it's echoing.
I'm sorry, Member America? Member America? I think it's Member. Member America, try to mute your mic because it's flickering and there's a background noise from there.
Thanks, Chairperson. Thanks, Chairperson. To further encourage the participation of youth within the sector, before the pandemic, we had planned a series of youth indaba across the province, but unfortunately we could not continue with that because we had to go into hard lockdown. The intention, you moved very quickly, Shumiz. The intention is to continue with the youth indaba as soon as the regulations have been released, and we will certainly be exploring utilizing the online and virtual platforms, because I think we have tested it with a number of engagements with the communities, and I think that that's an option that we would need to explore. Next slide, Shamiz. This slide then just talks to our performance, particularly on the Youth in Human Settlements program. I will not necessarily go through each and if the information is contained in that slide, Chairperson, but what that shows is that in each of the respective districts, we have engaged on training programs, and what we did was to focus on the big projects with the higher yields to ensure that there's sustenance in terms of the practical training that we provide to the learners, as opposed to just focusing on a unit on a project of 20 or 50 or 100. That would not be sustainable in terms of the practical experience that is required. We will be rolling it out to other regions, and that communication has already gone out to request the municipalities to submit the information so that we can make sure that we align the program and the placement of the learners accordingly. Next slide, Shumiz. That talks to the planned youth training and job creation opportunities for this current financial year. Again, it's just a continuation from the previous year where we trained, where we identified our catalytic projects, and in this financial year, we'll be training and placing those learners in those projects so that they can get the experiential training that is required. And I think the last column just indicates the investment that we'll be putting in this financial year. We are still exploring adding some more, placing some more learners on some of our projects, because we've got some learners that were trained in the previous financial year that we were not able to necessarily place, but we will continue to ensure that the placement for all those learners is done in this financial year. We have reached agreements with the various contractors who will be taking all the learners that have been trained into these projects. We are on the verge of signing some agreements with some of those contractors and agree on the payment and the stipend that needs to be paid to those learners in line with the agreement that we signed with NHBRC. Thanks. Next slide. In terms of the Emerging Contractor Development Program, nationally, there is a Vukuphila program. This is a national contractor development program, which basically aims to assist the emerging contractors by improving their grading status, their performance and quality, and of course, around the issues of equity and targeted ownership. We do not yet have any agreement with the National Public Works in terms of this particular program, but they have reached out to the department, and we will be exploring the partnership with them in the coming months with the hope of implementing something from this program in the new financial year. That said, it does not mean that we have not been active in this space. The way in which we have facilitated Emerging Contractor Development Program as a department is through the Enhanced People's Housing Process, which is a program that allows us to identify local and emerging contractors and actually build them and train them in this regard. In the Knysna area, for example, in the previous financial year, we were able to utilize the small grading, the small emerging contractors who were graded, I think, 2 GBs, who by the end of the financial year had managed to obtain a 4 GB status. So we want to continue using that program to support the emerging contractors. We do acknowledge that a lot more still needs to be done in terms of engaging and assisting the emerging contractors so that they can develop from the lower grading status to a higher grading status. And to this end, we have also opened up a maintenance framework in the previous financial years, which was targeting mainly your 2 GB contractors so that we can train them in terms of the costing of the tenders and the pricing, and also just the quality control around the building of works. We also, in discussions, as I've indicated, with the National Department of Public Works, where we will explore the Vukupila program. We anticipate implementing that in the new financial year. On our framework, we've got about 64 emerging contractors that are actively participating in our various projects. There still is, we do still experience some challenges, particularly around the issue of financing and management and quality control. We have identified some modules together with the CIDB, where we want to continue to provide them training around tendering and other quality control issues that we've identified. I think that's the last slide. Shamiz? Yes. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Pilar. And I understand Task also that is doing the training for the construction is here. Can I hear so that we can acknowledge them? Can I check if they have joined us and who's representing them?
Hi, Chairperson. Yes, I'm Chris. I'm from Task. I'm the executive. And then also is Elisha Singh. She's one of our directors. She's also in the meeting. And we do assist with contractors with training and all other needs from the department side.
Okay, you have joined us. Are you going to do to have a chat with us, or you have joined us to just be an observer?
So
because I didn't receive anything.
Yeah, so we are observing here. I can give you, if you've got any questions, I can give it to you. Elisha will also, if there's any additional requirements and to understand more what we do, I can explain the model more to the committee as well.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us then. Okay, let me hand over to Tecu development members, because we are running a little bit late. I'm going to take all the presentations, and then after that is then that we can ask the questions. If you, through your indulgence, if we can do it that way. Are we in agreement? Okay, I take that as a yes. So the next is the Tecu development. Over to you. Is going to do the presentation. Shamiz, are you going to do that? Also, you are ready with all the presentations from your side?
Yes, Ms. Maseko.
Okay, can you do the Tecu quickly, please?
Is the slide showing you?
No, it's not showing. We are seeing from your screen that you haven't opened it yet. And Nathan is trying to join us since this morning. I don't know what is the technical glitch that is happening there, but it seems he cannot join us.
We've been trying to admit him the entire time. I've even tried to re-invite him. It seems to be problematic getting him into the meeting. Are we all able to view?
Yes, we can view. Just put it on a slide. Do you have it in a slide mode? Okay. We can see. Over to you, Tecu. Who's going to?
They must just indicate when. I must change the slide, Chairperson.
No,
okay. We'll definitely do that. Again, we want to thank you guys for this opportunity to be able to present to you guys. You kindly, Tandi speaking. We are going to do two parts of the presentation, and they consist of the problem statement, which is going to be from MS3 property, and then as Tecu will then have a solution for the problem statement. And we've also have, we just really, this opportunity is for us, Tecu and MS property to request a partnership with human settlement. We've identified a gap, and we think we have a solution for the gap so that in future we can avoid any mishaps or anything that we think is going to happen. We really are very passionate about women in construction, and we're passionate about the youth as well, and empowering Black contractors as well. So we want to just give you a brief of what we've come up with that could work if we given the opportunity to partner up with you guys. I will then hand over to MS3, sorry. You can move to the next slide, please. You just have to tell it.
Okay. Great, ma'am. Do you mind to move? Oh, okay, thank you so much. I've already introduced myself. In case other members were not available at that time, I am Vuyiswa Nzakana, a founder and a director of MS3 Properties Investment. I must say, Honorable Chair, thank you so much for this opportunity to allow us to come and present as a solution-driven approach in terms of what needs to be done within the construction sector, specifically for the designated groups, which is women, youth, and even people living with disabilities. My company, a very low-grade company in terms of the CIDB register, but as you could see from the slide, that it's almost been in 10 years in the industry, managing the building maintenance and involved with subcontracting on housing development. I must actually appreciate that at some stage down the line, I think about 5 years ago, I was actually given an opportunity by the same Department of Human Settlement, because it so seems in the construction industry, and it is still the only department that actually look at intervention in terms of supporting women in construction. So myself, just in the company, I have represented women in the construction industry at National Department of Human Settlement, at the Advisory Committee for Women, and at the Department of Public Works. I was very excited to hear Ms. Pila talking about the Wikipedia, because that's the program that has been struggling, really struggling in all provinces to pick up. I have received trainings and awards on women empowerment through NHBRC trainings, which is your agency, and the Gibbs Institute for Business Science. As a social entrepreneur, I've done lots of work in terms of advocating for women empowerment policies. I have actually, the person who's been striving to be a preferred developer for human settlement, and in terms of the construction and social housing. I think I will hand over to my partners with this Tecu development, and at a later stage, I'll actually be presenting the problem statements in terms of understanding what has been going on, especially for women that I know. I always call them women on site, not just women in construction, because the intervention is needed there on site. Thank you very much, Chair. I'll hand over to my partner.
Thank you, Vuyiswa. Madam Chair, Honorable Minister and colleagues from Tecu Development. Again, my name is Melt Gardner. Managing Director. I'm not here to promote the company, I'm here to promote the industry and the challenges. In short, everything is on the slide. We are well advanced in years and experience, and had the opportunity to be involved with women contractors, which we assist to achieve up to a grade 8 in the CIDB. Women contractors from the rural areas, and with our experience, and this is the reason for our presentation, is to share our experience, and we trust and we believe that whatever is foreseen in the future, we can and will make a difference in preventing it and giving you a product of service delivery in time, within budget, and with the main idea of empowering the contractors. Next slide, please.
Thank you. In presenting the problems, Honorable Chair and the members and the Minister, as I've mentioned earlier on, that through the past years of surviving, because this industry, you can only talk about surviving, in almost nearly the collapse of every SMME in the industry, especially after the 2010 stadia collusions by the big companies in the industry, whereby every department on the infrastructure was actually putting every budget into the big infrastructure project, and there was nothing for the small or emerging contractors. The women have been suffering in terms of the capacity building programs. Yes, they are there. I think even on previous slides that we've had in the previous presentation, we can see lots of trainings that are happening, but most of those trainings, they are not linked into projects. They are really appreciated because you get lots of theory, but I think the scramble at this point in time has been to link women with projects or to provide trainings or capacity building projects that are linked to projects. And in terms of budget and finance allocations to ring-fence women construction project, I think the department has been striving to do that. However, as we are talking about the industry now, you would see that the budget is there, but in terms of achieving the percentage versus what has been put on the budget and versus the percentage that has been spent, there's a big gap. So hence, Melt, my partner has just mentioned that is a gap that we actually been seeing in this sector. The classroom trainings that I've already mentioned as well that are not conveyed into construction. The nightmares, honorable members, of workers that are not covered in terms of their salaries by bargaining council recommended rates. And that is mainly experienced, especially if women are only surviving on subcontracting works. They are not given their own contracts to manage as a whole. And you will go around, and when you do your site oversight and actually realize how struggling are the emerging contractors, women and youth and everyone else who's actually supporting in terms of how they are being deprived of opportunities of managing their own products and projects. And there is also insufficient training, management, and support from main contractor, because what happened most of the time, lots of work is given to the subcontracting by the main contractor, and the main contractor only does the project management. And usually, in most cases, it's a contractor that is, I don't want to say that it's outside the province. But you find that the contractor is busy managing products that are 3 or 4 in different provinces. And what they do, they would come and actually get lots of women subcontractors, youth subcontractors, and they leave the site on the hands of those subcontractors without any support. That's where another suffering actually comes in. And the environment as well. Women are, as we know, that they are the designated groups, and of course they are usually also vulnerable groups as well. There's always risk attached to their projects as well, specifically if their project, they are not greenfield projects, and you are giving a woman to renovate or refurbish a project in a community that is a brownfield and within the community, and there's also other factors that are playing a risk in terms of thefts or gangsterism. So women are really not safe in such environment. Women on site, as I've mentioned, that we're actually looking at the women in construction, but specifically the women there on the site. the challenges of attitudes is something that we hardly talk about, but there is that part that women are they still need to manage. So if there's mentorship and there's motivation accompanying that, I think women could achieve a lot in terms of what they could do in terms of their projects on site. We understand that women sometimes they work better when they are with other women, and our province, especially the Western Cape, even from the CIDB, you would understand that the lowest women on the CIDB register in terms of their grades, it's very sad to understand that mainly they are from our province. You would hardly see a woman in the Western Cape that's sitting at a grade 8 level and at a grade 9. Yet we've got a department that's really committed and dedicated in terms of always trying to find out that there is project for women in construction, there is interventions that Ms. Pilar has just mentioned about Ms. Maisela, but the struggle to close that gap in terms of how they actually put the women into the mainstream of the construction sector. So there is just various things, like as I've said, that in terms of the Vukupile project, I'm very much excited to hear Ms. Mayegiso spoke about it, because at the time I have been on the committee of advisory council for women in construction at the Department of Public Works at National. That project, we've done every intervention in all provinces to ensure that the 60% is set aside for women, not even 30, not even 40. We actually advocated for that, but it never even took about 10 to 20%. Just to add, last on my motivation in terms of the challenges and problems. I also saw the candidacy as well, the women who actually coming from the universities, the technical, who would like to be professionals on site. I'm also a member of the CBE, Council for Built Environment Transformation Committee. It's been a struggle, Honorable Chair and Minister and the members of the committee, to put women onto that candidates portfolio, because most of them, they do not have mentors to coach and support them in terms of getting to that program. So it will be very interesting to have services of Tecu with experience and everything to ensure that they support such women in order to make sure that they actually graduate to become the professionals in the industry. That is what is actually we're trying to come and present and to close the gap. So mentoring and assistance is really a great main part, Ms. Maisela and your colleagues, in terms of supporting women. Otherwise, women can achieve a lot. And we've seen them, those who are actually getting it in other provinces, they've done a lot in terms of moving their grades from grade 1s to grade 6 and to the grade 8s. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, Visa.
The next slide, ma'am.
This is the next slide. I'm going to hand over to you, Mount.
Thank you, Tandy. Members, the gap that the previous presenter talked about is why we are here. And what we offering is through experience, through legislation, and to make sure that not just empowerment, but skills and that sense of ownership remains at the end of the day. Back in 2015, there was a government gazette from the CIDB requesting the grades 5 to 9 to ensure quality management systems and construction management systems, for the view to ensure that what they put on site follows a quality system. On the right is a presentation on how the different stakeholders is supposed to put hand in hand to make a project work. As consultants, we can design, we can plan, we can manage, but if we don't assist the contractor with what we put in paper, right at the bottom, you will see there is a big overlap in responsibilities and objectives, which is the gap that we are referring to. And as the private sector, as the people that at the end of the day, as professionals need to sign off on the quality, we are as important to make sure that the gap is attended by both, so that we all achieve the same goal. Next slide, please. By bridging the gap, we would like to govern and we believe in a private sector partnership. We cannot just leave any contractor, irrespective of the grade, to just go to site and visit the site once or twice a month, do inspections and have a long list of site instructions to remedy and do that. It will only be achieved if you committed on-site training, mentoring them and link it to a project. The appropriateness of the service is to empower and support in construction management, even starting within your own business and the tendering. The participative part is skills transfer and mentoring, and that can only happen if you take hands and move as frequent as possible to make sure things on site are done in accordance with you as the custodian's specifications and our engineering quality control. Next, please. This is a very important slide, and I'm happy that the department pillar that you have put a lot of emphasis on the department, NHBRC, CIDB, that provides education, that provides training, and all the sectors of construction management. But if it is not monitored, if you're not giving guidance, the reality is that these things on site will not happen. And especially if you leave the subcontractors unattended, unsupervised, the consequences we've seen recently, and that is not what we would like to voice as being our objective in housing delivery. Next slide, please. The service that Tecu offers is to make sure that from the start, a proper construction management system is put in place. Quality assurance as per the legislation, quality control on site, process control to be followed to ensure that each stage of a development from the earthworks up to the completion is properly processed. There's a quality assurance and control in place, both being managed, supervised and mentored by the professionals, by the inspectors, and through this, the contractor will put in place for himself a quality control system. He will grow with us. We will all grow in making sure that you don't, when you reach the roof level, have to go back and then chase into walls because unfortunately you've got to put in any tubing. This is what we have identified, and we believe that if it's not prevented, it will still happen unattended on site. Next, please. This, in short, part of the service is a construction management system. You need to be administratively prepared from your appointment throughout inspections, throughout the project closure, to have your formats in place that will guide you to not have any crumbles falling through the woodwork in making sure that quality assurance is maintained. Next, please. Planning, mentoring and reporting, very important. Just to come on site on a Monday and say we've got 100 foundations to do and we would like to finish within 6 months, if there's no proper scheduling, no proper monitoring, you will deem to run into headaches and the likes. The service we're offering is to assist, plan together and ensure that proper planning is done. We will mentor the process, and then the performance curve of the contractors is linked on technical, financial and ability. And this is a report that is essential for the department to present to the HOD, to Parliament. And if you've got a good tracking method, it will work. Next slide, please. The main achievement is to evaluate and report. The system will allow us to on a regular basis, do due diligence throughout the whole cycle. Within that, we report on all the factors that makes good management: time, scope, cost, risk, resources, quality, making sure that the project, the product, and the objective of the project is achieved. At the end of the day, leaving everybody with a better understanding and a better tool equipped to do proper construction planning, management, control, and quality. Next slide, please. Quality assurance is in the preventing, and control is to detect. If we fail to plan, we plan to fail. There are so many wordings that we can say, but failure is not intended. It's because of a lack of a lot of aspects. The system and the service we are offering will guide into success, and the system is as effective as the operator. We cannot just put in a tender document with specifications and guidelines if you are not involved in the actual operation of the whole system. We would like to prevent things moving forward by ensuring a better way forward. What we would like to do is to propose that pilot projects be done, not just in the classroom, but link it to a project where this gap implementation strategy will be successful. Identify the current women contractors and introduce the gap to them. If they're already having a project, it's never too late to make sure that we prevent from that day that things go strong. We would love to see that the training that is provided, all the graduates, is being transformed into involvement and development, with our aim, women to be included in the mainstream. And with this short briefing, Madam Chair and Honourable Minister, at the end of the day, if you look at the organogram on the right-hand side, it's like a hanger. At the top, you are the most important. We hang on to you for opportunities. But the clothes that will fit this hanger must come from everybody, must come from the professional side, the private sector, must be willing to participate in assisting the contractors so that we can close this hanger with a beautiful cloth in bridging the gap, doing it together. Thanks, Tandy.
In short, we really just want to hold hands. We want to hold the construction's hand, walk them through the process, make sure that we are unlocking and improving quality in the housing delivery, working with you guys. We would just like the opportunity to assist and work together and make sure that we make a success for our province. Thank you.
Thank you, Tandy. We've presented as our partner has already done. We think that women, they need really each other to lift each other as they grow. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to open up for the questions. Members, if you can raise your hands if you do have any questions. I see Member van der Westhuizen. And Member Nkondlo and Member America in that order. Over to you, members.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you very much for the presentation. I must tell you, it's really a presentation that I can relate to, and it's been an impressive one in terms of where they've put their finger right on what I believe the problem to be. If I just make a statement, or start with a statement, I think what we've experienced and also the achievements of the department has shown that to us, is that transformation is extremely difficult. It is really hard, and unfortunately, a lot of people's hopes have been dashed because expectations have been created in the past, which unfortunately didn't materialize. A lot of people have lost money in the process, but quite often you can recover financially, but to regain your confidence is something which is quite often much harder to achieve. Chair, I would like the presenters to, if they could, even expand on the need for not only training, but also the building of networks whereby people support one another in this industry. It is my impression that training and classroom training, and it was actually said in the presentation, can only bring you that far. But from then on, it's experience and particularly support, monitoring, mentoring, and the mentor doesn't always have to be somebody that is big and experienced, but people can really, through partnerships and just networks, support one another. So if I could ask that the presenters just respond a little bit more and expand even more on the need for non-classroom training, and also there was a slide in which they listed the various aspects that you need to be able to acquire. It's not only technical training, it's not only financial training, it's not only project management training. It is such a lot of knowledge that you must have to survive. And if the presenters could keep on talking, if you would allow them to respond even more and tell us where they identify the gaps, I think we can learn a lot from them, because as I've said, they've really been through the mill, and they've really shown us this morning how difficult it is and what is needed to go forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Nkondlo.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for the opportunity. I know I'm not a member of this committee, but I think the issues, as somebody who sits in the Economic Development Committee, and the issues of women, youth, or designated groups are actually cross-cutting issues. And I think I appreciate what the Standing Committee has done, and hopefully a consideration of the committee is to also consider, in such discussions, to bring the Standing Committee on Economic Development, including Public Works, so that, as we would normally say in government, that integration, is the best approach to ensure that there are no inefficiencies in the system and leakages. Because what I pick up here, Chair, and I think the department, Ms. Pila, as presentation here would then maybe provide some answers where my observations may not be on spot, in terms of lack of integration, especially on planning and program design. And I raise this one. If I listen, there is a national program called Vukuphile. There is also a program on enhanced, I forgot the full name, but I know it starts with some enhanced something. There's, the emerging contractor program that has been there led by, CIDB under the Department of Public Works. And all of these, some of these questions, actually, we have been engaging in the Standing Committee of Public Works also to try and understand these questions. And for me, I would really try to understand whether these three or many other programs have got different outcomes, why they are separated. Because obviously, then you spend money on varied interventions for the same problem. And that, in terms of your results chain, would therefore let you, investing a lot in terms of inputs, of resources financially or otherwise. And then out of that, in terms of what you desire, as your change result, such will be, diluted. And that is why government always speaks about the issue of integrated planning. So if they can indulge me on this, including that, we come into this administration after, the previous PGDS sort of strategy of the province, where the skills game changer was sort of a coordinating point of the varied skills that are required by the province. And I think for me now, the question is, when there was this lack of performance that have led to the committee advising the department to rather, target down to the current 10% and 4% for women and youth respectively, what could have been? Are there any particular reports that we could be furnished with that actually became an indication or reasons why there was such a poor performance? And I'm raising this because when we look at the quarterly labor force surveys, Status A and other industry reports, if we talk unemployment, if we're talking about, skills mismatch, we're always flooded with the reality of many women and young people that are out there looking for skills, in particular, unemployment of graduates. So for me, it would be interesting, when such a decision, is justifiable on the basis that here is a report that actually give credence to why, we're unable to perform. Amongst others, I think is the issues of transportation when we try to do some interventions. So I'm trying to understand that if indeed was there a study of that nature, and two, is this a problem of a lack of integrated planning and program designing? And another issue there, Chair, which the department can clarify for me, is that in the planning again, at what point a sort of a market readiness, which therefore determines, both the demand and supply. And I would assume, and I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, I would assume that in an environment of the Department of Human Settlement, at least, there is always a somewhat an indication, in as far as the number of houses to be built over time. So making your planning, a bit more stable in terms of knowing how many houses are going to be built in the next 3 to 5 years, what has been budgets that have been approved. And therefore, based on that, if we talk about transformation, so that we really take out this a notion for me, which I don't necessarily share, that transformation is difficult, because I think there are basic things in most studies that have been done about how to implement transformation across board, not only in South Africa, in worldwide, that one of the things that is important is to be able to plan based, especially strategic and long-term planning is one of the things that helps, to ensure that you are able to implement and meet your targets. And I'm raising this, whether is that something that takes to be, that actually be considered in the department in terms of market readiness, where you don't only set the targets and only later you realize that you cannot meet them because, you do not find, these women or youth that are ready to participate with the appropriate skills. Aren't there any of such efforts done by the department to ensure that there is market readiness, which actually link to my last 2 points, Chair? I'm sorry to be long. One is on the triple P model. Pillar indicates that the triple P model that is currently used, which is the National Treasury Framework, that also is used across even in the province and municipalities, is actually tedious. If she can explain what that means. What is tedious in them to actually take up, and I'm hearing now we've got 2 private entities in Tecu and MS3 that are coming here, pledging you know, for a request for partnership. So if we were to get back to what Pilar has raised about how tedious, will this presentation, will the two presentations that are being made here, you know, in that context become impossible to realize? And if then the department has engaged what she terms public, who is the public that the department has used to actually try and close some of the skills gap that are in the industry? And my last question is in Tecu, and I would be happy if Thandi can lose, I think, the reference to us as guys. I'm sure colleagues would be far better. And I wanted to understand that in Tecu, if the department speaks about women involvement, what is women involvement? And I would specifically want to ask in Tecu, what is the BE, both in Tecu and MS3 actually, when we talk about women involvement in both of these companies? If you can give me, you know, both in terms of the equity of women in both companies and also the management involvement of women in both companies. If you can clarify those issues as companies, so that one can understand when we talk about women involvement in both of these companies, what exactly is that in the true sense of the term? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. That was mouthful. Member America.
Good. Thank you, Chair. I don't know. I've lost my track now. My question, just two questions. One being that in the projection, I think that is the number of young people that is to be trained let me just get hold of that slide quickly. The number of young people trained by 31st of March 2021. And we know it's been an abnormal year. How realistic is that? Are we on track to achieve that sort of goal? Or are we going to adjust it? And furthermore, does that number 150 does include the anticipated apprentices that will enter the system, and the difficulties that Ms. Maisela mentioned with regard to the CETA and the funding not coming from that? Is that all packaged in that 150? Then secondly, Chair, I think that the abnormality of the year and the lockdown that we all had to endure will certainly have an impact on the final outcomes of the targets that we have established. Would the 10% and the 4% that were presented to us, will they still be achievable for this current year, or are we going to see a downward adjustment in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic experience that we've all gone through? And then I think thirdly, Chair, is that one of the difficulties that we have is the in our rural areas. We can speak about all these targets and it might just be achievable within the metropolitan areas, but no, rural areas, we do not have the requisite sort of infrastructure to facilitate the participation of women in the industry. And we also know that the skewness of our economic sort of landscape in the rural areas, and what do we do? Because municipalities play a very pivotal role in providing that access, and some municipalities are not able to do it due to capacity. What do we do to assist those municipalities and make it, and that they also mainstream women participation in the industry, particularly in our rural areas? And lastly, it was stated that women struggle to be upgraded in terms of their grading so that they could qualify for larger contracts. And one of the possible solutions that were mentioned by the last presenters were mentoring. Can they clarify more in terms of what do they mean by mentoring and who ought to do that mentoring? Will that be sufficient enough to ensure that women entrepreneurs in this industry acquire the requisite skill set to enable them to be upgraded? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think the department and also the private company have captured the questions that are directed to them. I'm going to start with the department for the response. Mepila. Over to you, Ma.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will kickstart with the questions that were asked by Member Kondlo. You are quite correct, Member. We've got these different programs at a national, provincially, and even within the municipal space that all talk to the support of emerging contractors, women contractors, and youth contractors. And your question was, is this the lack of alignment, or are these programs talking to different outcomes? These programs are talking to the same outcome, and there is a need for the different role players and different spheres of government to ensure better coordination, to streamline certain processes, and certainly to work smarter, because we're all wanting to achieve the same outcome. Hence, we have been engaging with the National Department of Public Works. We're also engaging with the Provincial Department of Transport and Public Works, as well as our the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, who have all indicated an appetite for us to look at a consolidated approach to support the emerging contractors and their designated groupings, as we have indicated. Obviously, our involvement will be limited to the subsectors that talk to the human settlements value chain specifically. So we're hoping that by the end of this financial year, we would have set out some sort of framework that would guide us going forward on how best to coordinate and align our programs, particularly when it comes to the issues of funding. I think all the sectors, all the departments have felt the pinch with the reductions in our budgets. If I were to just make an example with us, our budget alone was reduced by 331 million in this financial year. And there's more to come in the subsequent years. And I'm sure that's the same for public works provincially, and that's the same for economic development. But there is a need for us to better coordinate and make sure that we streamline our processes for a much more better targeted intervention when it comes to these designated groupings. You also asked a question on why did we reduce the percentages in terms of our targets, or whether were there any reports that we based this reduction on. We did not necessarily document those in the form of a report, but we certainly just took the interventions that we as department introduced, and these included, for example, the opening of the framework just purely for women contractors to just try, if I were to use it in inverted commas, ring fence the work for those specific targeted groupings. So even with that intervention, we could not meet our previous target of 30% and 10% for the youth. We even engaged the organized grouping, for example, the women, SA Women in Construction SAWIC in the province, where we took them and we trained them. We brought the CIDB, we brought NHBRC, because what we found out that most of them, they fell out due to just compliance at a tender stage. So we saw that it was an issue of how they packaged the tender, the pricing of the tender, just the quality checks before they even get to the point where the work is awarded to them. So we put those training programs in place. It was in classroom style, and we even brought some of the grade 8 contractors to try and share with them what some of the challenges in the industries have been, and what is it that they need to focus on when they submit bids to make sure that it complies. So even with those sort of interventions, we didn't see the numbers improve. And the one particular challenge around the youth contractors is that there's an age limit. So we're talking about persons that between the ages 18 to 35. So we may have started training a youth contractor who is turning 35, but then next year they fall out. They no longer qualify as youth. So those are some of the reasons and that informed the reduction from 30% to 10% on those two indicators. It certainly is no indication that we're not taking this seriously, but over the 3-4 year period we have, with all the interventions that we've introduced, failed to reach the 3%. It's not to say that if things do improve in the subsequent years, we will not readjust that. We will certainly evaluate that and see whether the interventions that will be introduced going forward take into account the partnerships and the other public sector organizations' input, how we could improve the performance in that regard. We'll certainly evaluate that and adjust it upwards where needed. There was a question on the PPP member. My reference to the tedious process was in relation to the definition of the PPP in terms of the Treasury regulations and the PFMA, which strictly speaks to the requirement for approval by National Treasury for any entity that wants to partner with the private sector. And of course, it requires for National Treasury to look at the value for money and the issue of transferring the risk. So these would typically be your big infrastructure project where government is looking for financing and development financing from private sector. So hence I was saying the PPP, as referenced in my presentation, should not be read in context to that Treasury regulations and the prescripts, which are looking more broadly at your big infrastructure programs that have got a risk sharing, a big risk sharing element to it. So taking it very loosely, it's two entities, public being government and private. In this instance, we've got the presenters that have presented today that would come together, and we would facilitate that sort of partnership through a service level agreement or memorandum of agreement for that matter, without necessarily going through all the hoops that National Treasury specifies in the regulations. And there was a question on the small towns, the rural municipalities. What is it that what is our support? What support are we providing to these small towns and rural municipalities who do not have capacity Our involvement, unfortunately, is only limited to the human settlement aspect of the capacitation. So these municipalities have their LED components that are set up. So where there is lack of capacity through our regional office or our capacity building sub-directorate, we do go and engage the municipalities, and some municipalities we've even provided funding for the appointment of clerks who could then be utilized to unlock and assist on the various aspects pertaining to the human settlement value chain. We acknowledge that capacity in those municipalities is problematic, which is why we wanted to even roll out the youth indabas before the pandemic, just to assist those municipalities in terms of reaching out to their respective wards and constituencies, sharing with the communities out there what is it that the designated groupings can actually value human settlements value chain. I think those, I'm not sure if there are any other questions, Chairperson, that I have not answered. If there are, if the members could then just please restate those, and we will certainly respond to them. Thanks,
Okay.
Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The members, they will do that after. I'm going to hand over to Tecu, Sestandi.
Members, apologize. I want to take this opportunity to apologize for calling you guys. Honorable member. Okay, so to answer the question to Honorable Gardner, Tecu is composed of 51% Black owned, and the women involvement is 70%. It's me, who is the project manager, and my colleague Debbie, who is a chairperson as well. I don't know if that answers your question as far as Tecu is concerned. And then I'm going to also hand over to Vriswa to answer.
Okay. Thank you, Thandi. Honorable Chair, there was a question about, I think it was from Honorable Van Wijshuizen in terms of the network. What are other networks involvements that we are actually using in terms of partnership? I think the main networks that we're looking at now that Ms. Pila has already explained the PPP, it's in terms of the department partnership first, and the agencies of the department, of course, which is the main agency would be NHBRC and the CIDB, because the CIDB, that's where the register, you could actually see the women in construction in general, and the department would actually zoom into in terms of which are those women in construction that are from the provinces that have been awarded the contract by the department. And thereafter, our intervention will be those women who've got the contracts, who are already working, who are actually identified by the department. How can we be able to assist them? And coming to the question about the from Honorable Nkondlo, she was asking about what do we mean by the involvement of women. Firstly, let me explain it from my company, honorable members, through you, Chair. The MS3 Properties and Investment is a 100% women-owned company, Black as well. And at a managerial level as well, it actually has got Black women on top, with 2 site management women who are on site managers as well. And they are Black because one is colored and one is African. So in general, they are actually classified as Black. And coming in terms of the other question that was asked, oh, that was actually referring to the department. It was not referred to us. So that is how far we actually understand. When we talk about women involvement, we talk about at management level, at operational level, and even at a senior supervisory level. that is where women involvement means. But our interest, as we're actually presenting today, it's about the intervention on women on site. We are very much interested in the women in the rural areas. We are prepared to intervene there. We know that they lack resources at some stage, whereby even the CIDB offices, they are situated in the city center of the metro, some NHBR offices. There was a stage whereby NHBRC offices, even a person from Khayelitsha or Eklund couldn't get into because it was further down there at Durbanville with no access to transport. It is still at Century City, honorable members, but there is a struggle a bit, but at least people can get into that. Those are the things that we can actually be able to assist women in the rural areas or in the regions as we normally pronounce them as business people. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, is there a follow-up or a clarity or any other questions? Just for the second bite for the questions. I don't see any. Oh, Member Mpondo, I can see your hand now. I recognize you.
No, I just wanted to thank the responses, and I think in particular from the department, and maybe as a committee and engaging with others, Chair, I think the discussion of putting pressure on the different departments across from national right to municipality and also, you know, sort of horizontally, that is now human settlement, public works, and maybe local government. Maybe we really need to try and get these departments to work in a much more coordinated fashion, because indeed there's a lot of money wastage if indeed we're going to have different programs for the same purpose and we end up, you know, not meeting the targets. So I just wanted, I think, to appreciate that particular response. In particular, to say, Chair, I think where Member America is raising, I think the issues of local government, which I think you, Chair, you also sit there, and him as the chairperson of that committee. I think one issue as a member, one has been raising in our Committee on Economic Development is actually the prioritization of LEDs, that is our local economic development plans. Because it is in these LEDs, Chair, that I think the work that is being, you know, done and trialed by this Department of Human Settlement, I think needs to find resonance there, because the LEDs must be able to help, because they are right there at the community level, to find these women, to find these young people, so that it makes it easier for the Department of Human Settlements, you know, and also these issues of having to spend money for transport just to ensure readiness, including non-metro areas. So I just think, Chair, I think as a legislator ourselves, I think we really need to hone in on this matter of working in silos by departments, you know, and also wasting money that we do not have, especially now post-COVID. So I just wanted to appreciate that in particular. I think it's not even a question. I think it's just appreciating that work, because we're going to keep on asking these questions, and really the issue of transformation becoming a pipe dream, because there's a lot of technical work that actually is a runaround. And I'm also encouraged that I think through PPP models, I think the department is indicating, I think, that there could be consideration, whether is the current presenters or any others, to really try and work in closing the gap. So I think for me, it was more, I think, a comment, so that at least we let the Department of Human Settlement to do more oversight than the practical implementation of such programs, so that it can oversight in its human settlement projects of building houses that indeed we are finding, especially what Ms. Nzakana calls women on site, because I know I've seen some women that are really doing great work, you know, in getting into the male industry. So I just wanted to appreciate, I think, this discussion of the committee chairperson, and actually to be allowed to also sit in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Member Nkondlo. And I think from my side, I agree with you. Hence, the standing committee, I think it's from the 5th Parliament that we were saying to the department that rather than keeping the 30% that you allocate to the women construction, why don't you reduce so that the remaining you assist to upskill them so that upgrading can happen also to the women in construction. But like you say, Member, the issue of the LED in the municipalities, I don't think that municipalities, they recognize that when they have the housing projects, that's where their LED can play a part, that they can also involve the women in construction or the youth in construction. And it's one that I'm happy, as you mentioned, it, that Member America is here in the local government, that we have to see how do we have the joint standing committees in doing an oversight in the municipalities to engage them, being the Standing Committee of Economic Development of the local government and the human settlements, so that municipalities can recognize that, in fact, they have to interlink that to make sure that they can sustain their municipalities having the business that develop within the municipalities, as their budget cuts are going to really hit them hard. And that is a reality that we have to face. But from my side, I think before I ask the questions, I think Member Heron has joined us. As he indicated, he will be joining us from 10 o'clock. So Member Heron, you can raise your hand if maybe there is questions that you would love to ask. You will also have the chance. I just want to find out, like you indicated, Mepila, that we talked about the 10%. Now, from the training that you are talking about of the youth, what percentage did you allocate to the women? Because now it was just generalized. Did you consider that you have to put a certain percentage of women for the graduate internship program, or it was just youth? And also on your list of the training that was happening, I didn't see the West Coast. I saw the Garden Road and the Metro. And I'm a little bit worried because I tend to believe Saldanha IDZ is one of the hotspots of economic development, that automatically the housing is going to be one of the demands that is going to be created by the jobs that is going to be created by the IDZ. And if you don't have any women in construction being upskilled or trained from that side, that means it's not going to happen. And I do understand that you don't create jobs, you are just an enabler. But we need to also have that percentage of the commitment as an enabler. What opportunities are you putting in and allocating in different regions as you create that accessibility of the communities to know that you can help them to upskill themselves? And also, just to indicate, if you have the information, if you don't, you can send it, that since the last time that we had only the grading of the CIDB of the grade 2, do you have any construction companies that you saw them growing to be graded to the upper, or did you see the women in construction just stagnant on that CIDB grading of 2? Because then when we engaged, they were on 2, they were not going up, and they were not, we were not seeing any growth in those construction companies. And also the PPP, how are you engaging, and then what are the challenges from the department for them to get without, I don't know how to ask this one. What are the challenges from the side of the private companies that you identify, the core challenges? I know every company's got these different challenges that may be, but for you as a department, what do you see as the core for it to be so tedious for you to be able to to make those private companies that we identify that they can form partnership without being tedious to you, because it seems it's take a long time before it can happen. And it's one of the concerns as your budget cut means that you have to also depend on the private companies to assist in trying to upgrade or to mentor the construction companies out there, which you cannot do all the time. And the last one, maybe it will be if we can get the information of the programs that you have in different, and where is that happening, so that we can distribute to the members as they are in the constituencies, as you plan forward, that they can distribute to say what training is happening and where, and what type of the training that the NHBRC, and then what is needed for those construction companies to access that training from the NHBRC. Thank you. If I can hand over to you, Mepila. And I'm sorry, members, the HOD had to leave, has another meeting, but she indicated we are in the capable hands of the women leaders in the department. Over to you, Mepila.
Thanks, Chairperson. Your first question, you're asking about our graduate internship program, whether we're targeting women and youth specifically. When we put the adverts out, we did not specify age limit, but it just so happened that we attracted young graduates, and the majority of whom are females. So it's open, and I think in the previous cycle, I stand to be corrected, we even had an applicant who is aged 63 who applied for our graduate internship program. So it's open, but in the past years we've just been attracting mainly the young graduates, and the majority of whom are female. Your second question was on the Saldanha West Coast area, why we're not seeing any programs in that area. Unfortunately, in that region, even the IDZ, it's not yet at implementation stage. So we do not want to go ahead and start training people and contractors and without any placement plan or program. We ideally want to start the training and train, knowing that in the coming months, we'd be in a position to place the learners on sites for practical training. So as soon as we get a program from that municipality and from that region, we will then plan accordingly and align to make sure that by the time we're done with the training, that there'd be sites that we can actually place the learners at. CIDB grading, we will definitely provide you with that information. We have seen some of the contractors grow from your lower levels of the grading to upper levels. We've had some contractors that were graded CIDB level 2 who moved to 3 and 4. And we've also seen those that were graded 4 moved to 6. So we'll certainly provide that information to the committee chairperson. On the issues around the challenges experienced with the partnership model, we have found in the past that we have the private sector and partners who come and approach the department saying they want to partner with us, but the issue of cost sharing and risk sharing is left unattended. What ends up happening is that the private sector comes and say we want to come and partner with your department, but they look at the department to provide 100% funding. And the whole notion of partnership presupposes that we need the private sector to come and also bring something into the party, not for government, in this case, Department of Human Settlements, to be the only ones that actually provide funding. So that's really the crux of it, Chairperson. If we can find a way and a model where the private sector also brings something to the party. And one of our limitations as well is the issue of the subsidy quantum. We all know that we're working within a fixed quantum. And we haven't had this quantum revised. The last time we had the revision of the quantum was 2018-2019 financial year. And before then, it was in 2014-2015. So it's very limited, and we have to take the funding to train and empower these designated groupings from the very same grant. So which is why I think, as Member Kondlo also alluded to, it's important for us to then look at this partnership both from the public organization side, but also from the private sector, because government can certainly not do it, go at it alone. We need them to come to the party in rands and cents, not just to say we've got the knowledge, but what is it that they bring onto the party to just assist us and meet us halfway, and share the costs and the risk at that. And then on the last question, different programs and the training that we're providing in each district, we like to tailor make our interventions. So when it comes to the training and empowerment of contractors, we are adopting an approach now where we're saying, let's look at these existing entities, small contractors, and understand how they're operating and where they get, so that we can put together a training program that talks to their challenges and their gaps. So we may not necessarily have a standardized program that we're saying this is what we're rolling out, but it's based on what the needs are on the ground. But where we certainly have programs that are already underway, we will certainly provide that information to you, Chairperson. And as part of our communication drive, we plan to go and encourage the municipalities to market the initiatives and the opportunities that exist, so that we can get from the local communities what the need is and structure the programs and the interventions accordingly. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Members, is there any question? Member Heron? Okay. Member Heron is there, but it seems he doesn't have anything to say today, and I'm not seeing any hand. So I'm going to hand over to the Minister. Is there anything that, Minister, you want to round up before we release you?
Chair, no, thank you from our side. Firstly, thank you for, I think, a very constructive and insightful interaction yet again with the Standing Committee. But I think taking cognizance of the inputs from the members, but also the questions posed to either my department or even the other presenters here, it's crystal clear that for us to reach any form of realistic targets, it is a collective partnership approach that's needed, but also a whole of government and a whole of society approach, Madam Chair. And hence, when I started off the session, I referred to, in the back of your minds, to always remember that, local government, and yeah, I'm not talking about the provincial department, I'm talking about municipalities, need to come to the table. They have a crucial role to play. They do have LED units, and correctly, as Member Nkondlo said, there needs to be a specific focus on that area as well. Otherwise, we will forever be reporting on targets, when yet to attain those targets from a human settlements perspective, once again, where we've gone above and beyond is where we have seen a lack or even a failure from local government side or the local municipality side to ensure that their databases are up to date. And one cannot then point a finger at the department for what they are doing or what they have done, because if we didn't take a proactive approach, believe me, the targets would have seemed even worse, Madam Chair. And with that in mind, really, I want to thank you and wish you and your committee well with your deliberations after we are excused. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. I think we have to acknowledge the department and also the government as an enabler, that what is important is to really try to instigate the within our communities to make sure that they are independent, to be able to take care of themselves rather than being dependent, and set the momentum within their communities, that what is it that they want to see in their communities and be the changes that they want to see within their communities. With that being said, I just want to thank the department for the engagement. And I think the Tecu also, and the MS3 property and investment, for you to come here. We really appreciate your presence, because you have enabled us to zoom into the challenges out there, and what is it that really we need to also look at in making sure that the communities out there and women especially are included within the construction across the board, not in human settlements only. And that is one thing that we will, I'm going to appreciate if the members can agree that we champion. If we have to champion through the other standing committees also, we can jointly do so, to see if really we can leave the footprint of seeing the communities really included in that. So with those few words, thank you very much, Minister Mepila. We really appreciate you and your support system that is around you. So you can leave us so that we can deliberate with the members for the way forward. Thank you very much. And Tecu also, you are appreciated. Mebuiswa, Meld and Tandy. Thank you very much. You are much appreciated also. You can leave us, members. You'll remain so that we can have the resolutions. Thank you very much.
It comes to training and development.
Thank you very much. Okay, members, if we can have the resolutions. Can I see your hands in the resolutions? Or recommendations, if any? Member Andrikas, I see your hand, and Member Nkondlo and Member America in that line. Over to you, Member Andrikas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to propose that we resolve to keep this issue on our agenda. Yeah. And secondly, that we invite also other entities that have had the same battle to be recognized in the construction industry. And obviously, it's not only in terms of the Department of Human Settlements, but I think we would all like to see transformation of the construction industry also when doing work for the private sector. So if we could invite other similar firms that would also able to present to us and enhance our understanding of what is needed and or to get the barriers that they experience out of the way. I would, that is my proposal, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. Member Nkondlo.
Thank you, Chair. My first one, Chair, I want to support what you suggested of an oversight. Perhaps if we can find a project, maybe the department can advise wherein, you know, there is a project where they've successfully integrated women or youth, you know, in terms of the projects that they've done. If we can be able to go on site and maybe see that and maybe again also from the provider, what has been their experiences, if there is such, and be done in a joint format where I think also the relevant other standing committees could be invited. The second one, Chair, I'm aware that I think from the finance side that the HOD did mention that in the province they are working on the current PPP framework to also consider, the flexibility of trying to gain, engagements with the other stakeholders. Perhaps the Standing Committee on Human Settlement can maybe try and ask for an update in that regard. But I think what I would like to add as a suggestion, Chair, is to say maybe I'm not sure what is the construction industry association now. Industry itself, maybe at some point in line with what Pilar was raising of the challenge of private sector coming on board and at times not being prepared to share, some of the, resources, especially financially. Maybe we could have an engagement with industry now, not only just one particular company like in Tecu or MS3. Yes, find an industry, to come and engage maybe with the department on what could be their own proposals to government on a partnership at an industry level, to help government, realize the type of skills that we require for construction, because in the absence of such, both housing and others, we end up having to pay double the cost because projects gets to be delayed, there's serious unrest and stuff like that. So I wanted to make that suggestion to be considered in the program of the committee in the future, Chair. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think in the past, we tried to engage the NHBRC. I think the past 5 years, even now after 2019, we tried to engage the NHBRC because I thought that when we get the NHBRC, it will give us the taste of which way can we try to link where the problem is. But unfortunately, we failed again and again, to an extent that we even said, okay, we can go to them, we can have the meeting in their offices just to have an understanding of, to engage, to have an understanding of how difficult it is for the women in construction, what are the challenges. But we are not winning. And the last time that they agreed that we can meet, unfortunately, is just when the COVID-19 happened and we couldn't. So we are going to continue to try, because I tend to believe that the NHBRC is the umbrella for the construction. It's where we have to start and also try to understand how they operate, as the department now is depending on them to do some training, and then we can take it from there to get the construction associations to come in, and eventually we'll sort of shortlist to be able to say how do we go about. But that is in the pipeline, and I agree, member, that we have to engage all the stakeholders and see if we can have those footprints of saying at least we made a difference to upgrade the women in construction, or even the youth to have a bigger pie that they can also share. I always say that we don't want to see the women when they say, can we go to the table to also be part of the discussion when the road is made, and then they get the answer of that, no, don't worry, you'll walk on that road, you don't have to make that road. So it's one of those things that I'm passionate about, and I will definitely, with all of your support, be through your guidance, help me for us to achieve that, if it's anything for this term. Members, is there any? I still see your hand, Member Andrikas and Member Nkonde. Is it the old hand or the new hand?
It's an old hand, Chair. Apologies.
Okay. Okay. Members, Member America, is there anything for the resolution?
I'm covered, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, members. Shumis, you have captured every resolution or recommendations, isn't it?
Okay, I've placed everything on the screen. Members can just look if there's any changes that they'd like to make on it or
No,
additions they'd
there's
like to make about.
nothing on our screen, Shumis.
It's not showing. Okay, let's see again. Let me try again. Are members able to view? Is it showing?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, the committee requests that the department provide with a list of programs and where the training programs are taking place, a report on the grading of the CID modules. The committee resolved to invite women and youth in construction stakeholders to brief on the standing committee and challenges experienced. Shamis, can we agree that you are going to listen to the, I think it's more than what you have written here. Can you listen to the recordings and just capture everything? Because also we talked about the municipalities, standing committees, the joint standing committees to come in and talk. There's a lot that we talked about. It's not this only. Members, can I say our procedural office will listen to the recording and then we will have the resolutions and then we can adopt them in the next meeting. Or are you happy with what you are seeing on the screen?
Agreed.
It's agreed.
Okay. Thank you very much, members. Shumis?
Can we maybe then continue with the adoption of the previous minutes?
Yes, I wanted us to continue with the consideration and adoption of the previous meeting. And for this one, then you listen to the recordings and then you can do that. Members, can we continue with the consideration and adoption of the previous minutes? Are you going to put that on the screen, please?
Yes, just give me 1 second. I just want to open the folder.
Okay.
Where did I put the folder? Here we go.
Okay, we are still not seeing anything. Can we? Okay.
Are you able to see the minutes?
We are still waiting for it to open. I just saw you clicking. Can you do it again? It's not there. Okay. Can we, members, look at the present? We had on the 16th of September, Member Heron was not there. Is it correct, Member Heron?
I need to see the.
Okay, no, he was there. You are there, you are there. And Member Lily and Member Barnes was also there. Okay, can we go to the resolutions? Okay, the recommendations there, they are, members, and I tend to believe you received them. Any changes that members see that or any addition that you feel it wasn't captured? Or the adoption? Can we move to adopt, members? If there's any change that you feel we have to do? Okay, members, are you with me?
There we are, yeah, Chair.
You are not there. You take long. Are we adopting the minutes?
I propose, sorry, propose we adopt, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member America.
Support.
Thank you, Member America. Thank you, Member van der Westhuizen, seconder. And the next one, Shamis? Okay, this is for the 28th of July. You received that. Can we adopt that?
Chair.
Okay.
I
Adopted
see that
by Member America, seconded by Member van der Westhuizen.
Chair, can I just say that the minutes that we've just adopted actually contained a sentence which said that we adopted the minutes of the 28th of July.
No, remember the last meeting there was a little bit of a dear maker because we couldn't capture everything. You had to leave, and so I think the procedural office made a mistake because eventually we said, okay, you will get it online, and then if there's anything, just adopt it through the email, but it seems there was no one who responded to the email.
No, it basically says that it will stand over in the resolutions for the next. Yeah.
So then we said it will stand over, and then we can do it officially now because we didn't get the response on the emails like we anticipated.
Chair?
Yes?
We will then just have to go back because the minutes that were circulated, or the draft minutes for the 16th of September, and I'm quoting from what I have in front of me, is under point 6, consideration and adoption of the draft committee minutes of the committee meeting held on the 28th of July 2020. The chairperson submitted the draft minutes which were considered and adopted. Then that paragraph 6 will have to be removed from the 16th of September's minutes.
Okay, Shamis, can you do that? We will do that, Honorable Member.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we continue? We are doing the track document, isn't it, Shamis? What is next?
Yes, Chairperson, just give me a second to just open it again.
Okay, this is our quarterly report. The most important thing is the attendance. Members, please check for me the attendance, that it reflects your attendance. Okay. Are we happy with that? Shamis, the next page.
I'm happy to.
Okay. Adopted by Member Andrikasa Seconder.
At second, Chair, America.
Okay, thank you very much, Member America. Shamiz, is that all?
No, I must just open up the tracking document quickly.
That's what I want to see. Okay, just zoom on it so that we can check.
It looks like the document froze. Let me try again.
Yeah, today is one of those days that things are not running as smooth as a person will wish. You would wish to see everything going just smooth. I think we will consider the hybrid in future. Okay. So the first one, okay. The first one, it was the 3rd of February, which is resolved. And I want us to go to where it's not resolved, Shumis. We don't have anything that is not resolved, is it? The pending is the
pending
the
is
first one is the department. The committee requested the department to provide it with a report on the monthly backlog cases at the Western Cape Rental Housing Tribunal. That is outstanding. Another one, Shumis, is the oversight visit to the invitation for the members at the tribunal. Remember, members, we said, I requested that we get the date that will be suitable for you to attend. And we requested that the department give us the dates that they're going to sit. And they did send, but we didn't get the confirmation from the members that they are available to attend those hearings. So members, do you still want to attend those hearings, or we should resolve that no, it's not going to happen, just the report will be okay with you?
I'm happy with just the report, Chair.
Okay, okay, Member Heron?
I'm also happy with the report, thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shamiz. That means we are happy that now on that one, it will be the report, then it will be resolved with the report. Okay. And the other one pending, it will be the committee resolved for the financial reimbursement. And that was, okay, no, I'm wrong. On the deliberation, the committee requested that the department provide the committee with the amended business plan as per the budget cuts. When can we get that, Shumis? Did you communicate with the department?
Yes, I have. I'll find out whether I can get that from them within this week, and then I'll circulate.
Okay, we'll appreciate that. And the next one, because it's going to help the members towards the annual report. So the sooner we get that, the better for the members to be able to prepare their deliberation when we do the annual reports.
Yes, that is it for now. That is remain unresolved. The other stuff has been.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, can we adopt our tracking document as it stands now?
Chair, if I may mention something,
Yes.
the last one there, the committee resolved that the claim reimbursement for kilometers, that hasn't happened yet, Chair.
Yeah, I saw it, but it just skipped my mind. I'm sorry about that. Shumis, the reimbursement of the members, can you send the form like we did on the environmental and agriculture to Shumis so that we can be reimbursed for the traveling of that oversight?
Chair, those were submitted a while ago. I mean, even before, so yet nothing has happened.
Shumis?
Yes, Chairperson.
Yeah.
I have submitted Mr. Americas. I was under the impression that his has been that they have paid him out already, but apparently, according to our discussion last night, he hasn't been paid out. So I'll follow up after the meeting to find out why the payment hasn't been done yet.
Because I need to confess, I didn't send the form to be reimbursed.
Mr. America was the only one that sent the form to be reimbursed.
Okay. Member Heron?
Yes, Chairperson.
Can we get your form also to Shumis to be reimbursed for the oversight?
Mr. Heron was not part of
Mr. Heron was not part of that. It was member Andrikas just for the 1 day. Member Van der Westhuizen, can we get yours?
That's correct. I will do so, Chair. I've done it for the other committee and I now know which forms to submit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that, Member America, that you haven't been paid. I'll also help Shumis to do the follow-up and you will get what is due to you. Okay, members, I think that was it. With that, is there, Shumis, anything that is still outstanding?
No, I think we've covered everything. Oh,
okay.
Wait, I think the committee program, let me just load the committee program. I'm sorry.
Okay, and maybe members, I think while Shumis is doing that, we check the parliamentary program. I think we don't have a lot of time for us to can populate our committee. So if the members, they have anything that they feel, because the next meeting, I think we are going to do the quarterly report. I think it will be the first and the second quarterly report. We haven't done that. And if the members, they feel we can add something that is urgent, always just communicate with me for us to also add to that, because of this year is just an abnormal year, and there are some things that maybe it might be we are missing and needs to be deliberated as you do your oversight. So feel free to always communicate with me for us to be able to deal with the issues as they crop up. Okay, here's the consideration of the annual. So we are going to do the first and the second quarterly report for the period April to June 2020. Is it okay? There's nothing that is urgent from the members. You're okay with that for the agenda for the 18th?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. That's all the. Pardon, Andrikas?
No. I agree, and thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, members. I'm planning that we need to have maybe a planning of an oversight as a committee, not as a cluster. So members, if you can come with the idea of the oversight visit, that will add value. And I think today's topic, it will be one of the things that maybe as the committee we have to go and look around and look at how can we go about. That's the idea I have. But if you have another idea for an oversight, please share it with us so that we can plan for, it's either January or February, for a standing committee oversight to set the tone for the next financial year of the issue that we can drive, which will be plus to this one of the women and youth in construction. So please communicate with me. Can we adopt this as it stands, which is the last thing for today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. Seconded by Member America. Members, I think that's all. With that being said, thank you very much. And Tafsir, thank you. And Shumis, you are appreciated as always, and members appreciate you more. And with that said, stay safe, and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.